G'day viewers, my name's Graham Stevenson and I'd like to invite you to come on a journey of creativity and learning and adventure through the series Colour in Your Life. There's an artist in every family throughout the world, and lots of times there's an artist deep down inside all of us as well. So grab your kids, your brothers, your sisters, your aunties, uncles and mums and dads and come and see how some of the best artists in Australia do what they do. Well, hi viewers and welcome back to Colour in Your Life. We are in St Peter's today in Sydney at the studio, fantastic studio too by the way, with a lovely lady, Johanna Hildebrandt.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for having us in your studio. Now you'll have probably seen some of the images of Johanna's work flashed up as we go along. Unreal. That's the best way to describe it. It is fantastic. And 1980 you've been, since 1980, a professional artist?
Yes, that's right.
The influence in your work, I mean, when you look at the work, it's amazing. There's so much going on. And as an artist myself that loves nature, your work just epitomises what nature's all about.
Thank you.
Tell me how you came about this influence.
I came out from Germany in 1970. And in 1980, when I started painting, I had all the influence of the beautiful colours, the rainforests particularly, and they influenced me probably the most. And the incredible reef colours, and so you've got those three colours of the blue of the ocean and the green of the rainforest and the amazing birds in there.
Yeah.
And going to the outback where the red colours are. So this is where I get my influence.
It's
nature.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
And Johanna does a lot of bushwalking as well.
I do, yes.
Plus you're a snorkeler.
Yes, yeah, that's
so you
right,
spend time in the water, and I just
Yes.
think it's fantastic that if you can get close to nature.
Yes.
It's one thing looking at it on TV and in a book.
Yeah.
But when you get close to nature and you actually see what it's like, it's
Yes.
just magnificent,
Yes,
isn't it?
and you get the smell and the feel and the wind, and sometimes it's all still and no noise, and in mangroves you can walk and hear nothing but just see all the little creatures. But I think it's mainly the bird watching that really fascinates me.
The piece that we're going to be doing today is of a beautiful little bird that lives in the bush in this area.
Yes,
and
that's
it's the eastern spinebill, isn't it?
That's right, yes, it's a honey eater.
Little honey eater. It's a magnificent bird. And you'll see a lot of Johanna's work screened up as we go along. Really exciting stuff. I mean, when you see it, you go, wow, this is fantastic. But just as an exercise today, we're going to create one of these smaller pieces and show the folks what you do. So we're going to go and get stuck into that right now, so come along.
So I start with the background, of course.
That's great.
So I've got three different colors on my board here, and I'll start with a bit of the white at the bottom.
So you've just got, is it a Atelier Interactive that you're using?
It is, and I found them very good and solid opaque colors, and that's what you need.
Yeah.
And so then I use this sort of scumbling method. At this stage, it is an evening sky. So using acrylics, I need to make sure that they stay wet long enough to, so sometimes, like in this case, I'll use just a bit of a spray of wet.
Sure.
Then I use a very soft hairbrush. It's not an acrylic one, it's natural hair. And then I go over it and scumble it like this, and that brings the background nicely together.
Okay.
And that's how you can get the effect of the evening light doubling through the foreground, which will happen later. So there's my sky. And being acrylics, they dry fairly fast, and I can actually then start thinking in terms of the next layer, because in my mind, I work with layers, the sky and then the background of the forest. And the background in the forest, because it's backlit, has to be light. Sure. I will I will use some greens now.
Okay.
And start with the next layer.
Straight onto your yogurt tin lid.
Yes, it is. Frozen yogurt is the best thing to use.
It's fantastic. But you know what I mean? Why pay for the expense of a whole bunch of pallets when that works for you?
Well, yes, because I just soak it and just scrape it off. And
it comes off.
Sometimes I find it really good to leave some old color on it as well, because it fits in with what I'm doing. So what I'm doing now is creating, once again, scumbled sort of an effect, which I get this way. I don't need to be very precise or smooth, and I don't even actually want to do that because of the liveliness of the background.
I look at your work and I think Rousseau comes screaming through sometimes.
That's a wonderful compliment.
Yes,
Thank you.
Absolutely it is.
Yes, he definitely is the painter that I admire most.
Yeah. Well, I just see you've got a sponge in your hand.
And now I'm coming to the trick of creating that lightness in the background.
Yeah.
So I'll sponge here, because that then ends up looking like the leaves.
There are a variety of different sponges you can get from art stores too.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I find is you have to buy the real ones, the good ones,
yes.
not the artificial ones. They won't do the trick. So I will still have a little bit of a branch coming down here.
Yeah.
Bit in there. And then I'll come to the next layer when I've done sponging of the background here.
Yeah, okay.
So I will literally go straight onto black. And black maybe mixed with a bit of hooker green, because completely black is too strong. And I can then create the area where I will have the undergrowth.
There's a fantastic contrast in your work as well. I mean, you
Yes.
use all colours of the spectrum, but they're all realistic colours as well. I mean, all the colours in the birds are the real colours, and the colours in the plants, and just that you overemphasise it to such a fantastic degree.
Yes, I think that I want to stay with my imagination a little bit. You'll find in some of my paintings that the sky might be a color that is not in reality, but then I'll get back to reality with the birds or with the leaves, with the plants. So I'll use another palette to give me the start of the underpainting for the birds and the branches. And one of my favorite hues is raw umber. You've got to have raw umber on the table.
Sure.
So just a tiny bit, and mostly white with the raw umber, and I find that works really well. I use a lot of the white titanium and mix a little bit of the raw umber in with it, and that just takes it out, and also this yellowy gray hue. So this color I will use to start my tree trunk that comes down here on this side. And so this here will become the trunk of a grass tree. That's one of those amazing plants in Australia that are quite stunning. There's two of them sitting over here. And then I also want to put my version of tree fern into it. I say my version because I will not go very detailed with the leaves.
Yeah.
So the branch where the bird sits on is not, doesn't come yet. I have to first put the bird in, because what I have found is in the past, when I put a branch there, it's logical. I have a branch and I'll sit the bird on it. But then I have a real difficulty placing the bird correctly.
So you're going to so the bird's just sort of hanging in there.
The bird is going to be just sitting in the thin air.
Yeah.
At this stage, of course, only very, very rough, but it'll sit in this spot with a little bit of green behind it. So if I have roughly the location of the bird, then I can actually bring my branch
Throw the branch in.
through the area where it's
There
sitting.
you go.
I think that's an insider tip. I left this area warm and soft, and the sunlight coming through a little bit for the bird that will be here flying. And then I have already got some suitable colors on my palette to start off with the underpainting for the rest of the colors that go onto the body. This is underpainting, so I can start filling in these areas around here, the rump area.
These once again are base colours to build on top of.
That's exactly right, yes. It's the base colors. After that, I start with a bit of a bold stroke for part of the wings, and this will all have to be slightly corrected as I go along, but it is with confidence you have to do those wings, because otherwise you have jaggedy edges in there, and I don't want that. I want the wings to be nice and even and smooth. So I will put the beak out to give me an idea of what the bird looks like. Here we go across.
There you go.
And it's getting to the stage of where it has a little bit more personality than it did before in only the white on the painting. So I would now be at the stage where I would introduce a strong yellow into the bib area.
Yes. And obviously that orange helps to push it through too.
Yes, that's right. And I think I might be ready to go onto this bird with, so that I get that to the same stage, and then I get a bit of a clearer picture of all the things that are happening in the painting.
A lot of the other work that you've done, it's so pictorial in many senses. You've done series on Noah's Ark, which are just delightful. They're so whimsical, and the characters in them are fantastic. And then the Tree of Life, you know, obviously with all of the animals involved in that. But there's a series that really stands out as well. It's a series called Looking Up.
Yes.
What influenced that?
I think the initial influence was hanging the clothes on the line, and I saw these huge trees and canopies powering over me. And I looked up there, and one day I sort of realized that's what I have to paint. And so that's how that series started. I'm doing more detail now into the second bird, the one that is sitting on the branch, and then I'm ready to add some yellow into it as well, so that it glows in the sunlight. And I think I'm at the stage where I can now make a decision on the flowers that I'm going to put in. You can't have honey eaters with no flowers, because they come around looking for them.
That's what they do.
Exactly, yes. And so I will put some red on my palette and put the red flowers on the top. That goes really nice with the hue of the sky. But I do use the internet and books a lot for reference.
Okay.
I still open my hardcover books. I've got a big library of them, and they all reference animals, birds, and plants. So I'll also put a few dots of red just to set off the bigger ones on top. And now I go back to my white, so they'll be indicated also only. There can be flowers which will be on tendrils that are, they snake around the tree branch. I have to get an overall composition, an overall feel for the painting before I can go into the detail. So they're really beautiful Australian wildflowers that are so tiny that you would walk past them when you would never take notice of them, but I see them all. And then I have a good enough camera that I can take some really beautiful macro shots of them. And so this is an interpretation of some of those really tiny flowers.
You've probably spent more time in the Australian outback as a German lady than most people living in Australia
That's
have.
possible. I've done a lot of bushwalking and have discovered over the years the beauty of the rainforests. I spent at one stage 4 weeks up in Port Douglas. And I had a residency up there. 4 weeks was a wonderful long time to actually make really use of going up to the Daintree forest at nighttime as well as daytime. And I started snorkeling up there as well, went out to the reef, and that's where after that I created a lot of my underwater paintings as well. But the bushwalking is a big passion of mine. So these flowers, like I said, they are growing on tendrils, on sort of root systems that swing themselves and cling to the branches. This is the side of the trunk that hasn't got the light shining on it.
Okay.
So I try once again to be a little bit steady with the right hand side of the tree trunk and come down like this. That's just scumbling this in here, because that'll give me the effect of the trunk that is aged and has lots of fungus and everything growing on it, and I like the look of that. And as I go along, I will do the sun shining onto this.
You've had a pretty extensive career as well, obviously starting in the 80s, but you've had 24 solo exhibitions.
I have, yes.
You had a book launch in Paris. I mean, you've got a number of licensed products out as well.
Yes.
Which is pretty amazing. And then on to Germany.
Yes.
And on to Japan. obviously being German, but you've exhibited in obviously Melbourne and Sydney. It's been pretty extensive,
Melbourne,
hasn't it?
Sydney, Brisbane, mainly in Australia.
Yeah.
And the book launch in Paris was very exciting. And I had one of my paintings exhibited at the Musée d'Art Naïf.
Okay.
And went over for a book launch together with some artists and my daughter and a publisher. And it was a very exciting time.
Wonderful.
It was lovely.
And your darling husband, Tom, has been a great influence and help.
He is a big help.
Yeah.
Yes, he definitely is. And he enjoys coming to the openings. And probably also one of the highlights in my career was being invited to go to do a solo exhibition in Nagoya.
Okay.
And that was during a time when the agent of that gallery was looking for Australian talent, and they had actually 100 artists on their books, and it was then whittled down to 4 artists, and I was one of the 4. And it was very exciting because you are treated really, really well in Japan when you're doing an exhibition. So it was lovely. Mm-hmm. And yes, I've had lots of different kinds of licensing products on the market, and at the moment I'm selling prints myself on Etsy, actually, through Etsy and through my Facebook page. And then I've got a website, of course, where all this can be sourced from and seen.
So what's your website address?
www.jhildebrandt.com.au. So now I'm going on to those 2 trunks. My version of painting them is that they're very dark, but I have to keep them a little bit light so that you can get the feeling, the gist of it. And I also think that by not necessarily painting something that is correct, like in nature, you create a painting that you can always read more into it. You see something, and the next time you go past it, you look at it and there's something different there again, because it is not exactly replicating what you see in nature. And that's what you want when you have a painting, that it stops you in your tracks and you enjoy it every time again when you look at it. I find with my work, if I have too strong an idea of what I want to do and I try and stick to it, the painting becomes kind of stiff. As I'm working on it and I make changes and decisions, it is a bit freer for me. And this is one green that I start off with, and there will be some layers over it.
So inherently the green or even some of the colours that you put down are all fairly neutral colours, and then you build your tones and your tints on top of that.
I do that.
So there's a piece that we've just put up now called Lace in Lime and Yellow, which is a beautiful piece. It's very influenced once again by your love of nature. But you're doing a diploma at college and you're going on to do an advanced diploma next year, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I did my diploma actually last year, and I'm at the moment in the middle of my advanced diploma. My 6th year into doing ceramics. And yes, again, that's all based on nature and my experiences. It's also very different because I can't be as detailed, and this is one of the reasons why for me it is also attractive to work with a medium that is a bit rougher, and I have to stop at a certain point of becoming very detailed. But with painting, I can't help myself. I just have to go to the nth degree.
Yeah, of course. And the beauty about living in St. Peter's, and it's such a creative community, is that the council is so behind what everybody does, and they really, really support the arts, which is great, isn't it?
That is great, yes. Marrickville Council really is very supportive of the arts, and there are lots of artists living around here. In fact, in this area, it's called the Artistic Triangle. So it's in between those streets that there are lots of studios here.
Beautiful.
And once a year, we have the Open Studio Trail, and which I've taken part in, so you can have the public coming in and see how you work, and it's always very interesting for them.
And now, because of the beauty of this show, the whole world will know that.
That's right. So now I'm on to this second bird. Start on that and give the wings a little bit of life with another coat. Start on that. And a bit. But this is still not the end result. This is the back wing, which is the darker one. And the little feathers in here. And now onto the one that is at the front. Needs to be a bit longer, needs to support the size of that bird. And I will also add the little feet, because this bird is about to land once it has had enough of the nectar. You need a fine brush, but I like to have a brush that has good volume for paint, but a very fine tip.
Okay, Johanna, you're really making some great progress, but I think you've still got a little bit to do. We're going to let you work for a little while and we'll come back once you've done some more.
Okay, good.
That'd be great.
Great, thank you.
So you've just about reached the end of a fantastic journey today. And saying that,
Yes.
where do you think your journey's taking you next?
Well, one of the things I'd like to see happening is my international licensing of my work. I've got lots of beautiful paintings. And in terms of my own creative work, I'm thinking in terms of going more into open landscape paintings. I have done a lot of traveling through Australia in the last years, and the desert has made a big impact on me after doing a lot of bushwalking, and I think it's probably landscape paintings, yeah.
Fantastic.
There's not much variation in the orange and red, but certainly the petals will stand out more when you underpaint with white. And that's the purpose of this. That's just the last finishing touches that I'm giving to the painting.
Okay guys, magnificent day, fantastic techniques, amazing work. Johanna, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Pleasure. She just informs me that's
Same for
very
me.
European. It was a fantastic
it was
day.
a real big pleasure for me as well. I enjoyed it.
We had a great
Yes,
day and you're a
yeah,
lovely,
great.
lovely lady. So I just think that Johanna's work is just amazing, and you can obviously go to Johanna's website, and that is?
jhildebrandt.com.au.
Okay, so we've just screened it up, so go and have a look. It's just fascinating work, it really is. You've also got jig lace for sale as well, don't you?
That's right.
Obviously,
yes.
and then
yes.
tons and tons of licensing. I mean,
Yes.
Johanna's literally crossing the globe with her licensing as well.
Yes.
You can also come into colorinyourlife.com.au and see what we're doing, and hopefully we can have your work in our site as well. And also go in and like us at our Facebook page on Colour in Your Life, of course, in Facebook. But amazing day, fantastic work. Thank you so
really
much.
enjoyed it.
Yes.
You're very welcome.
It's a lot of fun.
So,
But
yeah.
as we always say, remember, until we see you again, make sure you put some colour in your life, guys. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.